You're listening to the Pauly D Radio Program.
This is the Pauly D Radio Program for hockey fans around the world. And I'm not going to lie, I know the Rangers are on right now, and Kotsy told me if there was a game on, he wasn't going to be on the show. But he is on the line, and I'm excited to have him back. Kotsy, I gotta say, man, you scared me.
Well, you know, it was one of those ones there. What I meant by that is if I'm in New York watching the game, but I'm sitting right in my living room here watching it right now with 3 minutes to go in the second period. The Rangers are looking pretty good.
We got goals from Callahan and Prospol and
Leeson.
Yeah.
Yep. They look pretty good.
And I gotta say, Anisimov has been impressive.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pauly D, I'm going to come out with a story on my blog in the next day or so. I've got my team picked already. I'm not sure what the rest of the pundits are going to say, but I'm going to leave it for my blog. And yes, Anissimov's going to be one of them.
Phil Kessel is finally a Toronto Maple Leaf after a long summer of a lot of, I guess you would say, rumors around and, you know, where he was going to wind up. And it looks like Toronto has really... they're really doing what they set out to do. I think they've probably, if not the most improved hockey club from last year, they really added some grit and now with some speed and scoring. What's your thoughts on that deal?
Well, I think it's a great move for both teams, to be honest with you. It seemed to me there's a little bit of acrimony going on in Boston there. I mean, we found this all out later, after the fact, after he had been traded, but, you know, the Leafs needed a little bit of a spark plug up front. I mean, they got some good players in Hagman and Grabowski, but adding a guy like Kessel is definitely going to help that team. And you know, I wrote a lot about the Leafs last year because it is one of my former teams, and they play hard. They play hard every night. Now that they've added quite a bit of beef to the team, they've added a little bit of skill to their team. I look for them to contend for a playoff spot this year, but. You know, on the other hand, Pauly, Boston. I mean, what more could you ask for? A couple of draft choices next year, and even a first round, a second round next year, and the first round the year after that. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Boston made up pretty good too.
First round pick in 2010, second round pick 2010, and the first round pick in 2011. So they did. You know, Boston got a fair share of the deal there. And once a Ranger fan, always a Ranger fan. Theo Fleury makes his return, and I got here listed as the comeback kid. He actually looks pretty good. He did score the game-winning goal in the shootout against the Islanders, and I believe he added a mark or two the other night. 41 years old. Theo Fleury comes back. What do you think, bud?
Well, you know, the first part you're talking about, the game-winning goal, the shootout, I'll be honest with you, Paul, that doesn't impress me. I mean, anybody could have done that. I mean, and I know everybody's going to think I'm nuts saying that, but the part that impresses me is how he played the second game. Like you said, scoring a goal, getting a helper on another, and from what all accounts that I've read through the internet about the game, I mean, his line looked very, very good out there. But one thing I want to point out to you is that if you take a look at some of the elderly statesmen that have played a lot, you know, in the National Hockey League, like a Rob Niedermayer, Scott Niedermayer, you know, Stevie Thomas is the one that really comes to mind for me because I played with him in Toronto. Right. Played till he's 42 years old. I mean, what they had all the way till the end was they still could skate. And obviously Theo Fleury still has the speed and can still skate. Us plumbers and, you know, guys that lugged around the ice like I did, we lost that ability to skate at a certain age, whether it was early 30s, 30 years old. These guys are able to continue, and I think that's what's keeping Theo Fleury around right now. He can still skate.
Here's another one that this kind of doesn't surprise me, but I think it's definitely newsworthy, and once again, I'm going to ask you, Kots, Gretzky is still listed as the team's coach over there in Phoenix, but is yet to show up. I know Don Maloney was quoting that as long as the dispute goes on, you know, Gretzky is going to be off the ice. Ulf Samuelsson's taking over there. What do you think? What do you think's going on?
Alfie, I'm so old, I remember Alfie breaking in with me in Hartford now as an 18-year-old. Alfie's a little bit of a strange character, but a good guy at the same time. Yeah, I read a quote by him saying that as far as he knows right now, Wayne's not coming in, and he's basically running the show there for training camp, and, he's basically, I guess, technically head coach without being named the head coach right now. Although they did hire an ex-coach in the NHL, Dave King, I think, today, as an assistant to come and help out the Coyotes, but who knows what's going on there, Paulie? I mean, that thing's just that thing's just like a traffic jam at the worst time on the Long Island Expressway there out in Phoenix right now. I mean, who knows really what's going on? I mean, to me, it's been a bit of a joke. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and I can understand Gretzky not wanting to be around. He has a little bit of a stake in this, the way, one way or the other, what happens with the sale of the team. I mean, he's got a little bit of a percentage there, and from what I understand, I'm pretty sure you've read about this, is he could either end up with $22 million or he could end up with zero.
Yeah.
That I don't think he's going to like it if it's the zero part.
What, on the positive side, do you think Gary Bettman has brought to the game that has helped it, and on the other side, do you think's dropped the game down bad?
Oh, boy. How long's this show? Oh, boy. Listen, you got to understand one thing. I just finished reading a good book on Carl Brewer and his trials and tribulations about the Players Association and who represented us and, the commissioners and presidents of the league. And, Gary Bettman's in a tough spot. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of things that he does. Let's put that up front. I could pick on him all day. But, in a way, he works for the owners. And, the owners have a say in most of the things that Gary Bettman does. So when it comes to expansion franchises like you had in Phoenix, like you had in Nashville, Atlanta, Florida, Tampa, they have to come up with a pretty good sized chunk fee, Paulie. It wasn't like $50 million. It was I'm not positive, but anywhere from like $100 million to $200 million, and that gets divvied up amongst the teams. I mean, the owners like that, and so he's done well in that department when it comes to the owner's standpoint. But on the other hand, you live in Florida, and I look at Florida as a great football state. I don't look at Florida as anything else. I feel sorry for the hardcore hockey fans, and I know there are lots of them in Florida. But the bottom line is you're competing against football down there, and I'm not even going to say the pros. You're competing against the Florida States, the Floridas, the Miamis. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on, all the way to the Dolphins, to the Jacksonville. I mean, look at Jacksonville. They lost a whole bunch of. I'm getting off track here, but I don't know. I feel bad for the hardcore fans. There are hockey fans, to me, in the United States are hardcore. They're not average fans of a sport. They love the sport and they love it with a passion. But unfortunately, the NHL has decided to put some teams, and I'm not going to name them, but some teams in areas where it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
I mean, Phoenix doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Atlanta doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
You got two teams in Florida that, like you say, I've watched throughout the year. I mean, I get the hockey package here, and I watch the games from the Panthers and the Tampa Bays, and I see the package deals, and I'm like, wow, why can't we do that in New York? $69, family of four, hot dog, a drink, and free parking. I mean, that's incredible, and you know what I mean?
Yep. And it's true. That's exactly right. You've hit the nail on the head. And one of the things that I really have tried to reach out here in the Tampa Bay community. I told you last week we got a huge ball hockey community that both listens to us here on the Pauly D Radio Program, and there's a lot of tournament directors, and the game is growing here, which is exciting. But again, it's not a way of life, and you're right. The hockey fans are core hockey fans here.
Oh, they're as passionate as they come.
Absolutely, and I'm trying to find a way to get people more involved in the game of hockey, because I think it's the greatest game in the world. I know you do too, and you're exactly right, Kotsy. This is a huge football state. Even baseball was great, and the Rays did real good last year. And I know I'm getting off track too, but they can't seem to fill that arena either. So
yeah, but it's been that way. I have a little bit of knowledge about baseball, even though I don't watch it anymore because I think it's boring and slow now. But Florida and the Tampa Devil Rays, which are the Rays now, they never really could sell out unless they had good teams.